On March 2nd, 1962, Wilt Chamberlain did something that nobody has even come close to since. 100 points in one game. We've all seen this photo, and it's been replicated over and over and over again. It stands as one of Wilt Chamberlain's many impressive records, and possibly his most impressive one. And after 61 years, the NBA world has come to the conclusion that this game is a lie.
The game was not televised, and no video footage of the game has since been recovered.
The radio broadcast of it actually for a long time was lost and then mysteriously found.
There was no documented footage of this until just now.
I'm about to debunk this whole Wilt Chamberlain scored 100 points thing because it never happened. Wilt Chamberlain never scored 100 points.
Have the whiteboard. Whiteboards don't lie. I could do that right now and we could get a picture and everyone. No, you wouldn't do it though.
Was Wilt's 100-point game completely fake?
No way he scored 100. Second of all, there's no way he was just buckets from the free throw line like that.
Wilt Chamberlain, cap.
I've never seen something like this. A vast majority of people believe that a very historic game in NBA history never actually happened. And the craziest part is, they may be onto something. This was during Wilt Chamberlain's prime years. This man was averaging 50 points a game and 48.5 minutes per game. And somehow, he averaged more minutes than the length of an NBA game. While playing for the Philadelphia Warriors, they were matched up against the New York Knicks. And Wilt, for whatever reason, decided he was going to drop triple digits, absolutely torching the Knicks the whole game. Now, while you're watching this video, you're probably wondering why I'm not showing any clips from the actual game. Well, that's because there are none. Not one piece of film, not even a photo from this game. There is absolutely zero proof of this game actually taking place, besides a stat sheet which lists all the shots he took and how many points he scored, and then there's this photo. Wilt Chamberlain holding a piece of paper with the number 100 on it. It's iconic in the NBA world, and it's all we have of Wilt Chamberlain this night. Now I know what you're thinking, this was back in the 1960s. People weren't walking around with phones in their pocket ready to document each and everything that happens. It was a different time. Most families didn't even have TVs back then. Which is a fair point, but when considering that there is footage of the NBA way before this game took place, it does raise a little bit of confusion. And it does raise a lot of suspicion on the game possibly never happening. But why? Why would the NBA fake Wilt scoring 100? What would they gain from doing this? Well, there's a couple reasons people believe that this could have been staged. The first being the state of the NBA at the time. This was still a relatively new league, and the NBA were trying to get as much attention as possible. And what better to get people's eyes towards the NBA than the best player scoring 100 points? Not 99 points, not 101 or 102, 100. Perfectly even, and a much better headline than Wilt Chamberlain scores 98 points in a game. This is how a lot of fans today believe it went down. Write some BS on a stat sheet, write 100 on a paper and have them hold it, tell the press what happened, and call it a day. But has anybody really looked into how we scored these 100 points? This was almost 20 years before the three-point line, so all you could do was score two-pointers. And again, the man was averaging 50 points a game this season. He knew how to bully his defender and score inside. But you want to know what else Wilt Chamberlain averaged this season? 61% from the free throw line. 3% worse than the worst free throw shooter in the NBA today, Giannis Antetokounmpo, who shoots 64%. Shaquille O'Neal shot 59% from free throws in his prime, and we all know how historically terrible Shaq is from the free throw line. Giannis and Shaq are notorious for being terrible free throw shooters, and they were both a very small percentage from what Wilt Chamberlain shot. And in this 100-point game, Wilt Chamberlain shot an insane 28 of 32 from the free throw line, 87%. 26% higher than what he shot during the season. Percentages mean a lot when it comes to free throws in the NBA, and for Wilt to shoot that much better than usual makes you wonder if this is legit. It may not seem possible, but I'm not ready to completely rule out this possibility yet. Allow me to quote the great Shaquille O'Neal, "I make 'em when I need to make 'em." And he might be right. Shaq is considered as one of the worst free throw shooters ever, and even he has had multiple games where he was money from the free throw line. Like in 1993 against the Dallas Mavericks, Shaq shot 10 of 14 from the free throw line. Or that same year against the Indiana Pacers, where he had 49 points and 11 rebounds, and he went 15 of 18 from the line, which is 83%. Which, compared to the best free throw shooters, is just decent, but for Shaq it was amazing. The same can be said for Giannis. Even though this past season he barely shot over 60%, Giannis has had seasons averaging 77% from the line, and he's had multiple games shooting well over 80%. The point is, anomalies happen, and although Wilt was terrible from the free throw line, it's not impossible that he was able to shoot this well. So, now looking at the stat sheet on the night, considering it was Wilt Chamberlain, the numbers add up. And the only arguments pointing towards this possibly being staged is the fact that there was no legitimate proof of it happening. But what if there was a recording this night? It wasn't a video or even a photo, but times were different back then, and a lot of people will find out what happened during a game through a radio broadcast. And the radio broadcast from this game is out to the public. Although it's still old, low-quality radio from 60 years ago, this still stands as proof of the game actually taking place. If the NBA was that desperate to get people's attention that they would fake Wilt scoring 100, how would they go about it? There were almost 4,000 people in attendance, which doesn't include the amount of press and the newspaper writers all watching this. They would have had to get every single person there in on the lie and convince them for the next 60 years to not say a word about what really happened. You're telling me not one person there would have said something by now? Even if they didn't have any proof, if just one person from that time had come out and even hinted at the game being staged, it would be so much more believable. But the only people claiming this game never happened weren't even alive at the time. We all grew up in the era of filming and being able to record anything we want to. But if I brought an iPhone back to 1962 and I showed them the technology that we have today and that we've made over the past 6 decades, they would think I'm an evil source of witchery and burn me at the stake. The point is, nobody filmed every single thing back then, and nobody could have expected Wilt to have the game that he had. The same way nobody expected Kobe to score 81 points against the Raptors in that ordinary regular season game. And the same way nobody knew LaMelo Ball was going to drop 92 points as a high schooler. Yes, I know high school is different from the NBA, but still, this was Wilt Chamberlain in the 60s, and the Knicks were missing their best big man in this game due to the flu. If Wilt could average 50 points a game for an entire season, as impressive as it is, it's not that crazy that he was able to score 100 points. But the moon landing being staged, that's another conversation for another video. Did the NBA stage this game, or did Wilt actually drop 100 points? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, but that's all I've got for today. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to check out my last video where I discuss the craziest records in NBA history that you didn't know existed. But with that being said, I'm out of here, and I'll see you on the next one.